further ado, I'll invite Namrata on stage to introduce our today's speaker. Namrata, over to you.
Thank you, Vasant. Am I audible? Thank you, Vasant. So, hi, a very good morning to all of you. So, last time we had a MuleSoft meetup at Salesforce office, and there we invited some of the Muleys, and I'm really glad to see you all here today. So, I'm really excited to introduce to you our speaker for today, our Chief Technology Officer at Cloud Odyssey, Mr. Prashant Chandrasekhar. He has more than 22 years of experience in IT services, application, and system integration. Mr. Chandrasekhar holds his bachelor's degree in computer science from renowned University of Mysore and master's degree in information systems from esteemed Ramaiah Institute of Management. Highlighting part is in the initial formation days of MuleSoft, Prashant actively contributed to MuleSoft Community Edition. He has offered his expertise to plethora of organizations in diverse industries such as financial services, hospitality, and retail. He has solidified a stellar reputation on the back of his superb design, development, IT services delivery skills. Cementing his technical proficiency, Prashant has developed top skills in MuleSB, enterprise architecture, and enterprise integration. Moreover, he has demonstrated notable ability in driving sales effectively. His considerable leadership qualities have seen him successfully coordinating numerous cross functional teams, ensuring projects are delivered on time and with impeccable quality. He holds an extensive portfolio of collaboration with esteemed clients, which includes industry giants like Unilever, Shell, Costa Coffee, Maybank, British Petroleum, Panasonic, Whitebread, IDFC, HDFC, and HSBC UK. His extensive work stretches across several regions from Southeast Asia to Europe, the UK, and the USA. But what really sets our CTO apart is his love for carpentry. So let's give a round of applause for exceptional leader, Mr. Prashant Chandrasekhar. Thank you.
Good morning. Yeah, so I'm sure it was a real warm welcome, Namrata. So you guys are able to hear me at the last? Okay. Have you seen a failure in the production time? How many of you have seen the failures during the production time? Outages. Can you correlate it now? Okay, this is exactly what happens in an enterprise. I was just hearing Vasant when he was talking about the enterprise things. My intention today is to walk you through the enterprises and the technology that supports it, especially when we are talking about the MuleSoft. You will need to understand, or rather, it is always good for us as developers, as architects, and as business administrators, many stakeholders that gets into this gamut. It's very important for us to understand how the enterprise plays a platform, and then how MuleSoft embraces all those technology, embraces all those protocols, embraces those the frameworks, and then how it makes what MuleSoft is as that enterprise application integration tool, and also a technology. So that's my intention to give you, because I'm sure all of you are from a MuleSoft background, or some of you, or none of you. How is it? Some of. Okay. So most of the times we see the technology from a developer's perspective. So why don't we try today to look at the MuleSoft technology from an architecture's perspective, or architect's perspective?
Mic off.
So that's very important. Whatever Namrata has told me about these industries, working in many of these companies, especially dealing with the enterprise integration.
How many online? How many people are there?
The problems. Okay. Now, what kind of a problem? I told you, it's not only the integration problem, but it's beyond that. I'm going to walk you through those slides in a couple of minutes when this is getting ready. So that's where my intention of
90 it was not earlier.
carrying these sessions I really want you guys to be very attentive, and at the same time, I would be very happy if you're asking questions.
At least
And
it was
also
90, na?
more interactive,
90 I
and then
had
let's make it very, very interactive in
in
nature.
LinkedIn.
So with that,
Ah.
my other contention
Hmm.
of this
Okay.
exercises,
If there are any questions coming, let me know.
especially which gets on into the enterprise integration, is that we always look at solving a problem from a, as I mentioned, from a developer's perspective. Our job, or rather, I did that. I'm sure you will be doing that as well. So, or may not. So, what happens is the moment we see certain issues that occur in the platform or on the code or on that matter,
Off it.
even in the design, what we immediately do is we, without understanding the input or the possible output, what we do is we Google around, okay, and your Googling around will definitely help you to resolve the problem quickly, but that might be a very quick fix. What needs to happen is um, from an architect perspective, from a designer's perspective, or from there are two aspects, right? One is giving a quick fix, the other one is giving a strategic fix, right? Longer term of fixes, but that we do. So that's where I thought this session is going to be very, very useful. Already now, you ready? Let me get my okay. Sorry for that. Do we need to switch off this by any chance, or that's it fine? People at the back, because the slides are very important. And I really want you guys to pay attention to that. If it is little dark, that will be good. Featured film, right? Yeah.
I'll do that. ఓం ఒకసారి అక్కడ ప్రాజెక్ట్ దగ్గర లైట్స్ ఒకసారి ఆఫ్ చేయు ఒక రెండు అంటే
Do you
స్విచ్ ఆఫ్
in this crowd, or for that matter,
This project
even
that-
people
actually
who are online,
why don't
anybody
you
from
people also
energy
go
and
and
utility background, from the
live
verticals, the enterprise verticals,
Where?
oil and gas, retail,
ఓకే భాస్కర్
retail.
ఓకే ఫైన్ బట్ ఐ
Yeah.
సజెస్ట్ our question planning.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand the domain in terms of trying to give certain use cases so that also anybody from
Okay,
the
then
manufacturing sector.
ఎందుకు అలా click అవుతుంది?
All right, and hospitality, healthcare,
Skip.
life science, okay,
Okay.
banking and
Time
financials.
టైం పడుతుందా?
Great. So I'm sure you all have a takeaway from here. So I'm sure I always believe,
ఇప్పుడైతే కాదు ఇక్కడే
as,
ఉన్నామన్న అవైలబుల్ గా
you know,
కొంచెం
as everybody does,
చాలా
that
పని చేసింది.
when you understand the problem, the more you understand the problem, the best you can give the solution, isn't it? So that's exactly what I'm going to highlight in these slides today. So without wasting much time, is this fine? Is this fine? The slides? I'm sure there's some. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. So if you look at this space, that's what I thought, this, if they dim the light, that will be good. So look at this. What is EI? What is EAI? And how does it fit in the enterprise context is what we wanted to understand. So it's very important, See, there is a sequence here. There is an EI, there is an EAI, and then there is an enterprise context. So that's exactly, we really want to understand, start from what EI is. So in that sense, so I'm sure there's a problem. All right. So we're going to see enterprise integration, EAI and ESP. So next one, please. Right. So just hold on here. So if you look at this, we have learned all these terms. In other words, we have seen that every now and then on the production house, in the testing area, or for that matter, the operation side, you always see this: connect disparate systems and applications, and they connect different with the applications and the organizations, promote decision making, reduce redundancy, enable real-time data share, collaborate, and then consolidate the data, eliminate data silos. All, especially the same. I think we keep hearing this every now and then, isn't it? If you look at that, they form the objective of the entire enterprise. So all I'm trying to say here is these techniques, the objectives and styles, we will see next. But at the same time, yeah, just hold on here. Um, the techniques and the styles, if you look at this, there are certain techniques which is, I'm sure you understand what is this message queuing, business process automation. At the same time, data synchronization, the data transformation, and the when you come to the styles part of it, what are the various styles that are available? You will see the hub and spoke, you will see point to point, SOA, event driven, and microservices. All of these terms, I wanted you to kind of um, get familiar before we deep dive into these things. Um, I'm not going to explain each of those concepts, but my intention is, as enterprise architects or the enterprise development team or the EI development team, integration team, we often keep hearing these uh, words on the floor in the operations every day. And I'm sure about it. I mean, you also have seen that, haven't you? Synchronization, people call it as, and something is not working. Data transformation is not happening, and all those things. So, I wanted to structure this entire presentation in a way that we will start with understanding the enterprise in terms of no, hold on. First is your this part of it, which is uh, typically we will understand the traits, what makes the enterprise function, and then the complexity, which means that we are trying to understand what an enterprise is all about. First is, even before we going and giving the solution to the enterprise applications, we will understand what this enterprise is all about. And then we structure in, say that, what is this enterprise integration all about? This enterprise is especially in this EI and then the EI challenges, we will understand what is happening in this. And uh, in the next one, in other words, the following context will be in terms of what constitutes to EAI. So we definitely needs to understand what happens in an enterprise integration, and at the same time, when we talk about enterprise application integration, we will understand this part, which is enterprise application integrations, the objectives of EAI, and what constitutes that. Is it kind of, I would say, making sense? Understanding the enterprise integration next, and enterprise application integration. Then the next one is, what happens when I use MuleSoft as a EI base or an ESP? In other words, are we addressing these things by using MuleSoft? I'm sure you will get an insight into how powerful this technology is. So, and also we will also check. Go back. We'll also check that how MuleSoft addresses these challenges of EI. See, there's a challenge, right? I mean, the challenges in the enterprise is many, which you're going to see. But then, does MuleSoft address that, and how best it addresses? I'm sure you will appreciate it. So this is what the layout. I mean, I wanted to structure this entire presentation. And if you go to the next one, let's understand what is this enterprise is all about. So we need to understand this. It's a typical simple terms which says that a larger complex organization or a business entity, typically called in commercial land, individual and or professional activities, isn't it? I mean, all we do is it's a larger any company or any bank or any manufacturing sector, it's a larger organization, and typically it can be a business entity typically involved in commercial, industrial, or professional activities. So an entity which deals with the commercial aspects as well as your industrial and professional activities. Um, so if you look at this entire, uh, I would say traits, this is where we need to understand. In other words, when I wanted to call an enterprise, look at this. These are the things which are going to be challenging for all of us. In other words, if you have an organization, you are bound to have a stakeholder management where what happens in a stakeholder management typically people are involved, there'll be different roles, there'll be vendors, there'll be suppliers, there'll be supply chain people, the customer more than anybody else, and the operations team, many of them will be involved in this at the same. There is in the enterprise context, the risk and uncertainty is there, legal and compliance, then a market presence, financial resources, strategy, scope, operation, organization structure, systems and process, size and scale. All I'm trying to say here again is the these are the inherent problems that any organization faces. So when I'm dealing with a specific organization, I'm bound to have challenges, integrations, and many applications that are supporting these uh, traits, and it is inevitable for any of the enterprises to have. So we will understand how these traits or the characteristics of a specific organization gets into the um, challenges of enterprise. That's where I thought I wanted to list this here. Next, please. Yeah, hold on here. So now that was your enterprise, right? I have an organization now. Now I'm bringing all the systems together, and I'm bringing my technologies to support my business. Okay. As a retailer, what do? I get all my commodities to sell, and to that I need my some technology, isn't it? So that technology here, if you look at go by the definition says that enterprise integration refers to the process of connecting and integrating various components and systems. Let's understand this very quickly. So it's a process of connecting and integrating various components and systems. That's all from a very simplistic explanation of this enterprise integration. It is connecting various components and systems with what with the data within the enterprise to enable seamless communication. The objective also is being put here, where the objective says that um, an enterprise enables a seamless communication, data sharing, and coordinated work. Important to understand what is this seamless communication, enable seamless communication, data sharing. If we do that, we do that, right? So in an organization, typically, you have a number of departments. And each department owns probably tens or sometimes hundreds of applications to cater various other things. Now they all work in, if the enterprise is not digitized or if it is not kind of uh, transformed into digital savvy technologies. So you always have the applications working in silos. So during that process, what happens is the communication that happens between systems. Each department might have their own, sometimes supplier from the database. If you look at it, a supplier database is completely silo or not matching with your. Uh, there'll be two tables. There's a vendor table and a supplier table, and this vendor table, that there is a very little difference between the vendors and the suppliers. But then you will maintain many of those which are redundant. And then the commonality or unification is what makes any enterprise get into the next level. So most of the times that is lacking because of the reason that every department has their own applications as mentioned, and because of the quick go-to-market conditions, um, everybody will take a shortcut, and then that shortcut leads to the data which is more redundant in nature. Now, that's where the seamless data communication might not happen. There are two different systems. which are not connected at all, or even if they are connected, you don't have a control on the flow of the data. There are many chokes, and then the data that reaches to the system probably might not be the one uh, which is probably appropriate, or the curation would not have happened. All those are challenges. Now that's where this is very important to understand, that connecting these systems, the components, to enable seamless communication, data sharing, and coordinated flows. And then, of course, you'll see what I'm talking. This is just an English definition of what an enterprise integration is all about. And this is where I would consider, especially, we all need to understand, when you are solving a problem, you break down the entire enterprise integration into from an objective perspective, where you break down the information and you're reducing the operation barrier. Let's quickly understand what is this actually. So you're breaking down the information. So some of the departments might need a structured data. Some of the departments might not need a structured data, or they need unstructured data. So what are the unstructured data? I mean, typically, what do you call it as a non-structured data? Anyone? Images, raw form, file systems, which are not kind of organized. And there are structured data, typically your database, columns, tables, and other things residing in different things. So, your what you're doing is you're breaking down that information. So it itself talks about information. Information is something meaningful. It's not a data. Data is information. So that information, the way you're conducting and you're breaking down, is very important. And to break down that, there are many systems. Meaning, you have you'll go through certain designs, and then you do the development, and that's how logically you group certain data. Are you guys following what I'm saying? Now, it reduces the barrier, because there's an application A, B, C, they're all connected together, and that's how you reduce the barrier. That means the data I have here can be used somewhere in the system at some point for some business. You never know. Sometimes what happens is the data which is used for a market might be a very old data, but then that got, I mean, I would say, originated from a system that was um created very long. I'll talk about it in a while. So typically, this enterprise integration has a, in order for me to call it as an enterprise integration, I need to have a system integration in place. The objective should meet data integration, process integration, B2B integration, cloud integration, API, B2C, and then so on. So I'm sure it will be little, I would say, dry, but just bear with me for a moment. Yeah, next one, please. So now, why do you need, also very important, why somebody needs this enterprise integration? So for typically developing a successful business strategy, you must have solution. Um, Enterprise technology is much, integration is much, and then um, also this part where it integrates and unifies standards and core business and capabilities. It's very important. I mean, it's self-explanatory, where we are talking about unification of data, and it standardizes the core business capabilities. So, what are the core business capabilities? Let's quickly understand that. You will have finance, sales, um, the order management, customers. They're all core systems. So, if you are able to unify that, how nice it will be, how best it will be. It is to work seamlessly, and then address the business problems very easily. So let's quickly put our focus here. If you look at this domain, what it's talking about, what is the proven way of achieving this enterprise integration? The proven way is platform approach and accessible to authorized people and applications, bringing smart life cycle management, all those things. Let me go one by one very quickly again. So when we say that we have enterprise integration, the proven way of looking at how this enterprise has matured is by looking at a platform approach. What does it mean? It means that in an organization, if I have a specific platform which unifies a lot of things, it's easy to have one more section where talk about the problem typical IT department uh, faces actually. See, we as a developer, what we do, get a laptop, we code the thing, and then we go off, right? So, as I told you, you've seen the problem here that has a Python, right? So, all these things, meaning getting the right kind of mission for a developer, getting the right software, looking the certification of it or expiry of those certifications, and then installing a right software, security things. They all are a real challenge to an IT. So if you think that um, imagine that you're in a retail industry where there are so many systems. There is a POS or POS, then there is a database, and in between there are a number of systems. So IT department, though they do not understand the software, but they maintain it. And then for maintaining that, you need a lot of support systems. You need to have the run books and the process in place. There should be an audit. It's a hell a lot of problem. I hope you are able to understand. So those problems are addressed if you have one platform. I'm sure you will appreciate how this challenge is mitigated by use of technology. Accessible to authorized people, and this is very simple understanding. Whoever needs. In other words, in an organization, every if my organization going in a digital way, or I'm digitally transforming my organization, my intention is whatever assets are the systems that I have, I need to have an access to my people. Some of them are restricted, some of them are not. So how do we control that, and how do we know that life cycle management? What does it mean? Today, let's assume this uh, project launch of a thing. Okay. Now I need to have something in my pipeline, right? Now, in order for me to do that, there's a life cycle that needs to be happening. So when I bring my asset to a specific location, somebody has to register it, and when it goes out, somebody has to register it. There's a small cycle. I'm giving you an example of this. This is one of the assets or a device, right? Like that, you have people who join, people who leave, and then commodities that gets into this. And in a retail, there is a shelf life for a specific commodity, and a product lives in that specific shelf for a specific time. If the expiry happens, you need to take care of repairing it. Likewise, you have a maintenance that happens. Remember, if you get a shout from the fire department now, everybody has to then do that cycle of fire exercise and all. So these now, all these things contribute to what we know as uh, managing the entire business from a smart um, life cycle. It falls into that category. So when I define new process in an organization, to have a quick, I would say, life cycle associated with that, and I need to have a system to everybody need to understand. Yeah, in other words, whoever is a part of that system, at least they need to know um, how these new processes affect them, when they need to be deregistered or when they need to be registered. So all of them, it can be a machine, it can be a human, it can be a process, or it can be a commodity. So all of them needs to be managed in a right way, and that's where organizations go with this smart life cycle management. Again, I'm saying you'll appreciate how this can be addressed. Now, having a governance, which means, as I told, since we have and everything has to go in a right way, prescribed, so that you don't miss things. That's when you manage contingent. That means there'll be a plan A, plan B, plan C to get executed. So imagine plan A, plan C is there. For some reason or lack of information, plan C is executed before plan B. You're out, isn't it? So all those things are maintained. Somebody has to, as I mentioned, it has to be a cohesive way and be one platform that organizes this, and one platform that cater to this. So that's very important. And then bringing a predictive intelligence. So what would be a predictive intelligence? Again, I will take this. Today. So power failure. We know that power failure happens. What are the effects? We understand that the power failure is more like you unplug certain and there's no electricity. That has happened. But when the power resumes, right, there's an adverse effect happens as well. The neon bulbs come because of certain things. Have we taken care of that? Have we addressed that? So those important instructions are put in a believe every of these informations will be different in an organization and they will be maintained separately. That's how it happens. Meaning every instructions are there to run a specific enterprise, and then you have a system which can predict these things. Then how nice it will be, if a predictive system is there in place to help. I'm trying to give you this information because we want to understand a little bit of importance of this enterprise integration, and it helps us. Now, all of them, I'll come to this point where we are talking about the API. So, um, if you have, API, I'm sure you understand API. I'm not going to do the details of it. So, it means that I have separated the concept of my logic in terms of my APIs. I have an API for an order. I have an API. I have an API for customer onboarding or a onboard. So APIs, if I'm providing a section of or making it as a concerns of making it to fall under that, how nice it is to handle that. We will. So these are proven ways. If I want to call it as, in other words, if somebody asks us, why do you need an enterprise integration? So, and then with the objectives, and then we will understand. In other words, we know that there is a proven way. If we have these things in place, trust me, if you have these things in place, we can say that we have a best integration software, integration platform. Yeah, next one, please. Let's understand what is this. So we have seen what enterprise integration is. Now this is little below that, which is enterprise application integration. What does it mean? I know that I need this A system A, system B, system C. Now I am going to get to the next level where I'm talking about I need to have a practice. I need to have a very specific technology and framework. And then, and why do I need it? I need it because of my efficient communication. What is the meaning of an efficient? Quickly, from a normal understanding perspective, is something which if I know 10 points, and if I'm able to convey that to you, and if you also understand the 10 points, that's where the efficiency comes. Whatever my understanding was there, if you have a similar kind of understanding, the loss of efficiency. So if you 5, if I give you 10, it is lost. So similar, the efficient communication needs to happen between two different systems. How do you do that? You have protocols, you have schemas, you have data structures, you have a logic built in, and then you're carrying a certain payload which contains certain information, meaning the source has sent what target wanted. You're not sending what target doesn't want. So that's how it boils down to. So all of that is for a specific data exchange. And what it does is, this enterprise application integration considers the business process system platforms and departments. All of them need to happen only between these things. Let's understand quickly what are the systems. These systems include not only software, it includes your human also. Okay, platforms, departments. So if you look at that, when we have this established with the EAI, we need to understand what makes EAI foster in nature. So a collaboration, typically the EAI fosters the collaboration and agility and connectivity. Again, it's very, very simple to kind of put it here, but once these slides are shared with you, I really want you to go through that. So I might not be able to cover everything due to the lack of time, but still, what does it foster? The data integration, process automation, improved decision, saves time, scalable, and also a business agility. So again, if you understand from a perspective of an AI implementer, so why do I need implement AI, or why am I kind of implementing this AI? That is because there is a need of a data integration. There is a need of a process automation. So I'm sure with the um, new advancement in the technologies, there are many things that are generative applications are provided to us, isn't it? So how do I combine that? Meaning, when I know that there's a data integration that is happening, but there are certain systems in the organization which certainly needs a human interaction. Okay, with human interaction, or you might have heard of this multi-factor authentications and all. So certain things be done without automating and without the solutioning around. So how do you think? So far, whatever I'm talking about is from a perspective of, if I'm trying to solve a problem, if I know these things in my mind, then how best I can give you a solution is what we are trying to understand here. In that perspective, I mean, from that perspective, in a enterprise application integration program, I will be addressing data integration, process automation, improved decision, and it saves a lot of scalability, and all those things are, again, it's a note factor. I'm not going to touch that. But from the improved decision point of view, you need to understand this. We are in one of the projects where we are trying to be, as in we all of us. So there is a need today where people are working, and some companies implemented it. You might have, this is from, again, from a healthcare industry, and then from a medical say domain. So um, today I'm in Bangalore. Tomorrow I'll be in Hyderabad, or maybe at some part of the world. Okay. So how nice it will be. Like today I'm calling in Bangalore, but then my data is captured in one of the hospitals, and then that information. If I'm in London or in some other part of the world, um, I need to carry my data because I probably have some medical records that needs to be shared with the other company. So, I mean, and um, the doctor who is in the other part of the world, if or they have an access to these my medical records, how nice it will be for him to diagnose in the right way and then give the right prescriptions. Okay. Now, let's assume that you have built an intelligent system, and then the system can tell you this is exactly what Prashant has undergone for 3 days. Now, in a different part of the world, but this kind of a, I would say, a temperature or the environment, or for that matter, that specific conditions. These are the medicines that suits him. This is not suited for him. So that intelligent decisions, if we are able to bring in, and how do you do it? That is again by collaboration. So how do you do that? Without taking the branded names or hospital names? Hospital A in Bangalore communicates to Hospital B in London over a specific protocol, and then they get information. The decisions are made. Doctors are being provided with those, and you're all good. You know, specific to specific conditions, your your medicines are prescribed. That's one simple example. And you can only do this when you have contracts between the two hospitals, and when you have the right protocol of communication, the right kind of a certifications, governance in place, and all. So for these hospitals to that level, they would done a lot of implementations. So one of them would be have the right technology, and with that, the improved decisions can be. This is one case with the hospitality industry. Sure, what I've seen when you walk into one of the, uh, I would say, elite uh, hotels, um, just like how you get your online I would say there is a prediction that happens every now and then for you to suggest some of the products, right, which is of your interest. YouTube is doing that very well. Most of the other Facebook, the social media are doing very well. So like that, if you highlight hotel, so uh, your preferred rooms will be provided to you. Maybe you want to sit next to a beach and see the waters or the waves. So without you asking for them, they will be allocating certain rooms which you would have already used in the past. And then the kind of a food that you have uh, eaten previously, the same kind of food will be catered to you. And all these things are happening because of this improved decision making. So, or in other words, the right kind of predictions that happens, not only the improved decisions. So, with this, I thought I want to talk about the enterprise application prediction because here is where the practices are important, technology is important, and the efficient frameworks are important. So, we will correlate that technologies, how it is viewed. Okay. So, um, if we go to the next section, please. Yeah. Let's understand what are the, yeah, please. Yes, here. I think there needs to be a break. That's what, the suggestion. So take a break. I'm sure, you all need a break.
Thank you so much, Prashant. People will take a quick 5 minutes break. The coffee and tea is over there. I request all of you to take it, and we'll come back in sharp 5 minutes. Okay? Please take it.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. I'm really facing. I'm really Yeah. Uh, Back this once again. So let's understand quickly where I stopped. I stopped at enterprise application challenge. I'm sorry. So these challenges, this is where whatever in the previous sessions that I've provided you was not it was preliminary. So this is where the actual journey starts. So I'm sure this is going to be pretty interesting. So look at this: monitoring and troubleshooting. These are all the challenges of a specific. Uh, in- so the most one, which have, oops, hold on. Can you give me that pointer? I'm sorry for that. Yeah. Typically, like a college, you know, uh, a lecturer, right? So I can handle without the chalk. That's how it is going to be. So this factor, which is heterogeneous system, I'm 100% sure that since you have already the MuleSoft development and the integration development, there'll be n number of systems, and then every system is different. So one will be developed in the Python, on the other one the Java, the other one is .NET, or probably some of the legacy systems like AS400 from the IBM and the Pascal systems. There are many actually. So um, the way the ultimately, though the data sits in one of the RDBMS in a specific structured way, but then at the upper level or at the higher level, at the logical level, the business level, the applications are different, isn't it? So every heterogeneous systems has to be made communicated or made to be um, stitched together. That's where the challenges start. So I'm sure you are aware of the SOAP protocols or file systems. There are many different other protocols which are, why do we do it? Why do we have that? Because all we are doing is we are reading the data and presenting it a better way. So, and I'm sure this is from a developer's perspective, it's quite easy. Read a file, put a data view, transformation kar do, ho jayega. And that's at the developer level, right? So let's look at from a cost perspective of that. Meaning, let's assume that then I wanted to have there's a let's say there is a legacy system which is an IBM machine which was working from past 20 years, and then all of the data sits in different format, not in an ASCII format. Let's assume that. So, but then the application, which is non-user friendly, then you are supposed to integrate those into a front end or a front desk in a organization. Um, so what happens is there is a system for a front desk, and there is this data which is sitting as a legacy in the legacy system. So there is a cost involved for this new application. There's a cost involved for the previous legacy application as well. And also you're bringing something like a middleware. You're in order for that, you need to have a service, you need to have an installation, you need to have a deployment, you need to have developers to do that. You need to have a business with people to make those UATs or tests and give the certifications. Go ahead, and then there is a production plan, and then everything happens from that level. In other words, there's so much of cost involved these things. So that is number one. Number two is the technology itself has certain limitations. There are technologies where you cannot extract the data directly. So whatever FTP that we do, that FTP might not be possible unless it's going through one more layer. So for that, you are doing something else. So all these complexities are basically because of various systems. One of the systems might run on a Windows machine, which is only, it requires only Windows 8, or the one of the machine, it doesn't need a Windows, but it needs a Linux or a Mac based OS. So for that, there's a different cost associated, and the formats are different. So there is a need of us to weave it in a right. That's what you do right now. But the reason I'm putting it here is we all know that this is one of the challenges that any enterprise has got today. So we say that as developers, very casually what we say is, अरे यार एक छोटा सा सिस्टम है तो क्यों नहीं लेते इसको? Why don't we improvise? Why don't we make it use this technology हो जाएगा करके? That's not how it's going to work, right? We know that, but the business people or business users might not need that at all. They'll ask you a question like, I can easily, looking at the data, I can interpret from my mind. Why do I need your system? So these are challenges. As an architect, and not a developer, you need to think and try to understand where they are. So that challenges fundamentally with respect to change management that we're talking about. And change management are two ways. One is from an old system to new system transition that happens. Your platform can support that, or enterprise integration software or a middleware would support that transition smoothly. And the other change management is the end user perspective as well. I'm okay to travel from bus to Bangalore. Why do I need to take a flight? Is the question somebody is asking you. Okay, so let's in that context, you need to make them understand by taking a flight what is that you get, what by taking a flight, what is that you lose. Okay, so and in spite of all these things, if somebody says that I'm not going to change, I go only in the bus, you can't do it. Okay, so why am I saying that is, as a developers, we don't solve that problem, but we solve what we have. I mean, what we need to think about is these are the possibilities when we are providing solution to the people. I'm sure we are all developers, and we definitely scale up to the next. And if you have these kind of a context where change management or resistant change is there, then that's also a challenge in terms of how do you propose a solution. It all boils down to for this gentleman to or gentlewoman for that matter, the person to make him ride the flight. What is that I need to make? So that's where it all boils. So change management is very important, and inherently, though it is non-technical in nature, but it's a challenge. Okay, why is it connected? How is it connected to MuleSoft? Let's understand. I mean, I'll give you a very good insight into it, which we have gone through. The organization culture and collaboration. Again, this is technical and non-technical as well. So it's a challenge, as I mentioned. I think I already covered, but still, organization culture or culture and collaboration is like some people believe in an enterprise um, with a tag. I'm okay to allow people. I go swipe my card and get into the organization or get into the office. Okay, that is my org culture is to only have a typical practice like this. Some people say that I don't need to monitor my swiping at all. I need is an output. Okay, so this looks to us from an outside, it looks like two things. Uh, in one, you have a swipe card. One organization you have a swipe card. The other organization you don't have a swipe card. That's all right. But it doesn't like that. I mean, that doesn't look like. What happens is, um, again, without getting very offensive to anybody. So it's like somebody who wants to monitor the swipe cards has a different, I would say, experience of their past, right? And somebody who doesn't monitor your access has another kind of an experience. Now, if I come from that background, so for you as an implementers, it is important to understand what they ask for. And you are designing a system who doesn't believe in a swipe card is as dangerous as your building system who believes in having a swipe card, isn't it? You getting what I'm saying? So, um, if I don't want to build a system which doesn't accept the use of swipe card, to me, as a customer, मुझे चाहिए यार, whatever I'm asking, give me that. Why are you selling what I don't want? Is something. Okay. And the other one is like, I don't believe in the swipe card. Why are you selling me this? Why you are asking my people to swipe it? I don't believe. Then he will also ask the same question. Whatever I want, मुझे जो चाहिए वो दे दो यार. Don't give me. So this is important. Directly, it affects implementation strategies. Why? Another example, I'll go to the next slide. So why? Because, no, don't go there. So he's only hearing next. That's fine. So the, the 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 cultural aspect very again, I'm trying to emphasize here that some organizations believe that having a turnaround time of 5 hours is much better than having a turnaround time of 8 hours. Turnaround time, you understand? I'm sure. I'm speaking like a Pure circuit. I'm sorry for that. So you already know a lot of things. So these cultural aspects will directly affect from your implementation perspective, um, and also from a design perspective as well. One is your implementation, one is your design. So it follows a specific SDLC where let's look at quickly the design perspective. How does it affect? An organization where you are interacting with, we all face, I'm sure, we are facing it even today. People online, you agree with that. You go for a discovery in an organization, you understand what is discovery. You go and collect information on the requirement stuff, right? So people will not open up, or the customers won't open up for various reasons, for various fear, right? So, and that's number one. And without having the right kind of an information that flows from the customers in a enterprise where the system is very important, top management feels that we have to digitize certain things, but the player feels that digitizing is killing my job, or probably I'm kind of not secured. My job is on the stake. Those things. Um, if you if that affects your two things. One is it affects your right kind of function, right kind of a design. The second thing is you don't. This is very important. The second thing is very important. If I understand that, how do I make sure that the person or the department which is giving me the information, by giving the information, it is going to benefit to them. They are not going to do the job. They're not going to get affected with that. And then how do you make sure that they understand that is by collaborating and then giving your understanding in the right format to them. Don't you agree? So if I give you the conflict, if I would say have a concern, and then if I'm addressing your concern by knowing your or collecting your input and then telling this was this, all I'm doing, I'm just improvise this. This is how it's going to be looking like, and then still you're going to be using this. So showcasing that, collaborating that in an enterprise without using different technologies is literally difficult. In other words, I write a requirement in the Word format and I circulate in an email saying that, an email on such and such day, you have agreed for this, not seen now, and then it gets into a second email chain saying that that then response, I don't understand what you have done. Then you get into another cycle saying that, look, initially you agreed, you're not agreeing, or you are asking for more time. All those collaborative issues, transparency, all those things. I have a software. I have a kind of Word document, and um, that's all. Not I would say then these things are not correlated, and then during the right kind of an engagement, if you don't correlate to it with each other, you only go with a distributed or unstructured way of presenting those things, you will lose a lot of things. Instead, imagine that you have an exchange where you're going to tell them there is this is what you agreed. So how nice it would be. I'm sure that's very engagement. That's why I think the second part is very important. So all those things are very important. Now, legacy integrity, data consistency, integrity. I'm sure you guys have really seen this. Data consistency is it's so. I'm sure developers you guys like. वो मेरे system में work हो रहा है यार. Your testers, you guys are not testing it properly. So it's highly impossible for any developer. You cannot convince the QA guys. Can you? Cannot. So, but they are the again, I'm not discriminating. I'm little biased towards QA always. I come from a development background. I really love their ability to do that. You all should respect QA does. They will hold you they'll hold your neck and say that, and yeah. So it's very important. So that's where this data trust right QA, if they have undergone those things, because they are the people who will be testing, they'll be in the UAT, even the post production. They know what data is all about. They want to see fields. You're getting three fields. You say, "Arey, तीसरा information there out." They'll say, no, I don't need. I only need two, and let it be a right information. So this um, consistency, it all boils down to where they are holding our neck. That is from a developer's perspective. But data inconsistency is so high in enterprise, in enterprise, the flow of data is so. I mean, you can imagine a retail company. Uh, so many channels are feeding the data. It can be a mobile, it can be a transportation, POS system, it can be a sales, it can be an online purchase, or it can be information, or it can be advertisement. So much of data is being pushed into the system. And then for a specific user, you can tag one user for multiple other data. Now, that data has to be accurate, it has to be consistent. That is, today I am getting a right data, or let's say data one, and then over a period of time, because of various systems are there, and my single source of truth is only the database. But if this data gets affected for various reasons, consistency will be lost. Today I am seeing Prashant. Today or tomorrow you will be seeing Ashant. So it's not going to be a right way. I'm just giving an example, but this is so high, the integrity and the data consistency is so high. So the other important thing that developers will be challenged with this is scalability and performance improvement, right? So the QA guy will come and say that I'm running the performance system, 10 APIs. वो शुरू होते ही खत्म हो रहा है करके. So they'll tell you that. Why? I mean, I'm unable to kind of test my load testing is failing, my performance is failing, the things are failing. Again, at the developer level. If you look at the scalability, tomorrow an acquisition happens in an organization. A retail company is going to acquire another retail. So I have X commodity that I'm selling today, but I'm now X plus X that X plus Y I'm selling now. So imagine the systems that the other organization brings into. So how do you comprehend that? How do you handle that? How quickly you can handle? So that's where lot of acquisitions and the challenge that specific activity or the practice is very, very high. So that's where um, you you know today you got 2 servers, tomorrow you're going to have 8 servers, but even having the 8 servers, I'm unable to cater to the acquired company, or in other words, my customers. Today I had 10 customers, tomorrow I have 20 customers. I'm failing my uh, aspects of catering from a purpose perspective, which is again which is going to happen at various level, at the hardware level, at the software level, and at the operations level. At the software, how quickly you need to embrace that is the challenge. And even at the hardware level, how quickly you can scale up things. Even to have a, you all know that the realization that happens and then scaling up happens with all the technologies, right? Dockerization. But even to do that, your platform. So um, it doesn't work out like how it happens on a YouTube, right? So you can build a sophisticated airline system in 50 minutes in a YouTube. Do you see what I'm saying? You do that. So but you can't do that using those things in a real truth. Now, next is your monitoring and troubleshooting. How many of you have kind of experienced a phase where simple bug, but I'll come to know only after 5 days? Everybody, almost everybody, right? So in every case, trust me, I'm sure this you would have seen in your payloads, right? A small character getting into the payload. So bad schema dikha raha hai yaar, pata nahi, everything is fine. So you will get to there actually. Why is it people will be astonished to it's a small problem in the payload. That's one example. The other example is classical example is some of the times you understand dyslexia. What is dyslexia? Say for example, if I wanted to say yes, or in other words, if I'm writing an email where I'm saying my intention is to say no, but I would have written as yes. I want to, let's say something like this. I don't want to come to I'm not feeling well. Then I'll write not feeling well. Okay. So this kind of problem happens in your brain. There's no this if and else where you those conditional statements that you write. So uh, you are so smart, or rather, we are all so smart that only that specific testing in the unit testing we would have m unit से क्या चलेगा यार मैं ऐसे कर देता हूँ. We would have done that. We will do that actually because that's we are all human beings. Now these things will escalate, or these things will, I would say, cascade into something known as trouble monitoring. So some of these troubles you can't find it in the or not be detected easily. And I'm talking about again from a developer's perspective. But imagine those guys who are sitting in front of the support portals, and then they are unable to figure out what is happening because there are no specific monitoring systems. There are no specific uh, data that comprehends that. So again, that is because it's on a different system. Now, how nice it will be if I have it on a single system for these kind of applications. We'll talk about it. So yeah, next, please. Now, all these things can be. Again, this is my experience. Like, how do you address these things? If we have these 4 things: careful planning, understanding of IT landscape, the right technology and methodology, best practices. Please pay attention that these 4 things can certainly sail you through to the other shore. Careful planning. What does it mean? Again, you need to understand the context given you before. You can do a right should you know, or if you know that whatever customer, if you understand your customer. So often what happens is, since we are developers, the designing would have been done with somebody else, but they would have gone through these exercises for sure. So now, in next, I would say, when you do the exercises, you will be doing the right activities or right kind of a methodology where you do a careful planning by understanding your customer. You understand your customer better, then your plan to be the best result. Number one says. Number two says understanding of the IT landscape. So in an organization, IT landscape is very important. For example, again, we have a lighting, mics, all those things together here for a specific event that's happening. So there are multiple people who are involved in this. Similarly, in an organization, it will be as so. Uh, where are my servers? Where are my routers? Where are my gateways? Where are my customers? Where is my data center? And how is it distributed? Where is my disaster recovery places? And what cloud I am using? Is it a hybrid system or non-hybrid system? And then what are the various load balances that my request is, and what is my IP range? What is my allowed or non-allowed IPs? What security levels? And what are my again, the practices around my certificates? I'm talking. Does we need a do we need a certificate beyond the firewall or within the firewall as well? Or why do I need to have a why do I have to have a two SSL? Or why do I need to have SSL in place when I'm only operating within my organization? Because that's my landscape. You getting what I'm saying? This is very important. So you understand the landscape. Next time you go ask your lead, you just ask them, give me the plan. मैं क्या लिख रहा हूँ यार? Give me the big picture. You need to ask. Go and ask. What is the big picture? You know that I'm sending something to source to destination, but as it all, what is the big picture? So you need to ask that. I'm trying to tell you that you need to understand the larger picture in the game. The entire integration is this, and you will be working only here. It's not going to work. You need to look at it very clearly, and that's, it's not about, more about understanding the plan layout, right technology and methodology. So that's, I think, was pretty straightforward. I'm not going to get into that. But one point over there is right methodology and technology. See, this is since you are budding architects or when to use the PubSub, when not to use PubSub is very important. So just because of using it, failure just because of not. That's very important. You guys need to understand that. Okay, when to use and when not. And then the best practices. There is no way you can skip this. You've got to have a best practice. I'm super excited to tell you that there are so many good things that are happening. It's already happened in software. It helps you to follow certain things. We'll see it quickly. With this, we'll go to the next slide. This is very interesting. Let's quickly. How much time we have? Just want to understand. So yeah, just prompt me. Okay. So these enterprise systems, we are going to see these many systems very, very quickly. The reason why, no, go back. So the reason why I want to have a glimpse of this is because as an architect, when we are saying that, you guys need to think like an architect, you need to understand the enterprises. So far, we have seen that what is an enterprise, what is EAI, and all this. Right? So let's understand quickly the challenges through different domains. In this case, we have chosen the manufacturing, banking, and then the healthcare, travel, and then the retail as a quick understanding. Give you what happens in these organizations, and then what happens in this enterprise. You will understand the depth of it. In other words, to me as a developer, when I started to understand the challenges by looking at the problems in this area. Now you will figure out how important this integration is, and it's a never-ending story. It's an evergreen integration. Is an evergreen subject. Okay, so you will understand the complexities, and you will also understand how best um, whatever technology that you are using, especially some technology, can address those things. And that's what I intend to give you or pose the challenge and make you understand the depth of it or the complexity of it, and then see how we are. That's one of the reasons I wanted to put this. Next, please. So we will start with this retail. Okay, I'm trying to quickly run through this. So this is the discipline. If I want to call it as a retail or as a specific enterprise, I have a sales department, marketing, ordering, inventory, supply chain, customer experience, customer trends, and e-com. By the way, this is only not confined to this. I've just chosen most important things. Okay, so in this discipline, if I have sales, marketing, order inventory, supply chain, each one of them poses a different challenge, isn't it? So even if I take 10 systems, or let's say two applications here or two systems here, uh, that's a bare minimum. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 twos are. So that many systems are. So what I'm trying to say here is you will understand the complexity if we go to the next one. Yeah, just yeah, look at this. By the way, these slides are like, first we'll be showing this and then we'll be talking about this. So we need to understand this in a much deeper level. So what is this retail? All we do is sale of a goods and services through either the physical store or an online store. To whom? To the consumer. And it happens in a direct. That's all the retail is. What we do is we sell the goods and services to whom? To the consumer, either over the online or physical store. Or in other words, physical means actually. And then there are systems involved. This consumer doesn't know, he only buys. I need a marker pen, I got a pen. To manufacture the pen, these are sell the pen, these are things that are happening actually. What is that? There is the CRM. There is, you know what CRM is, right? So there is a CRM system, there's an inventory system, there's a POS, there is an e-com, there is a SCM. Again, they're all, I try to limit it. And then there's an ERP, there is a, what is BI? Yeah. Why is it important? See. So loyalty, security, support, all of them are twined together, fused together. It is very important for us to understand that only these systems, they're all systems, they're all, it's all computers. I know that, you understand that very well than me. So these systems, entire, um, all of this, in this case, these systems form together to give a service for a specific retail industry. Now, imagine the complexity. So all of them are on a different. Let's assume that this inventor system is an old system, and then this pure system is also an old, which does has got a proprietary, I would say, protocols and all. Which means that when I say proprietary protocol, it is like which doesn't fall into either REST or so. Okay? So there is an e-commerce, and all of them assume that this is not a this is a SCM. SCM has got a different machine. ERP has got different machines. Support systems are there. Security, is there, loyalty programs are there. They are all are distributed in an organization. One is Mumbai, one is Hyderabad, and all of them. So, in order for you to make a right kind of a business savvy or to embrace, as I told you, I gave this example of if I wanted to produce and then sell a new product. In order for me to sell a new product and launch the product, I need to have a seamless communication among these systems with a right kind of a platform, unified platform rather. And then today MuleSoft is doing is that for connecting all of them is happening in one platform where that platform is trying to get the inventory information, talk to the CRM system, talk to the boss and the e-com or the you know the complexity of e-com again. Somebody places the order and then it has to go to a lot of things are there in that. I don't want to get into detail due to the lack of time, but this complexity for one system, you can imagine how like this. I would say all of in order for us to operate on all these uh, practices, you need to have these systems. Now, breakage of this, I talked about something is breaking, something is the monitoring challenges and the operation challenges, the data inconsistency, all of them, this systems will contribute to the data at the same time, data inconsistency as well. Now, if you have a one system which talks to each other, and then where you are able to monitor things, where you are able to uh, control certain things. It's like this. There is a deployment that is happening in HCM. There's a deployment that happens here. There's a deployment that happens here. So all of them are, they are all individual systems. Even the deployment cycles are different. So the prioritization of that. Today, let's assume that I'm bringing a new product or new process, and I'm deploying it in a management system. But that is, since it is connected to ERP as well as security as well as I need to collaborate it with those departments as well, isn't it? I'm bringing a new without telling my security department, I can't launch my product. Now, in order for me to do that, so I need to have certain protocols, and I need to have certain collaboration among that team as well. That means I might want to say that I'll open up an API, I'll create an API in the exchange, and then say that please go ahead and look at it, mock it, and then do things. That is possible only because you have an unified platform. If you don't have that unified platform, it's too difficult. And it comes to the problem of the work that I spoke about. I sent an email, you sent an email, and nobody has read it, and all those things. So this is one of the complexity in the retail, and that's from the retail perspective. And if you go to the next one, this is pretty interesting. This is much more complicated. In the bank and financial, the discipline is going to be, there will be a commercial aspects of it, and then the investment portfolios, the account management, planning and advisory, financial marketing, credit rating agencies, fintech. They form a trade specific banking system, meaning you have all these departments functioning. Very right, I would say. Some of the banks are so precisely doing all this. These will bring the complexity that we are going to see this. So a quick definition is again manage the invest in what does this banking and financial retailers do, or typically um, they come with a definition saying that managing investment and allocation of money and capital to whom, to the customer accounts, and and then they manage the process transaction, they do the risk mitigation, and then they do the regulatory needs. In other words, in order for me to call it as a banking and financial sector, I'll be monitoring or I'll be undertaking these uh, activities, and all it happens is I'll be only managing my money and capital. In other words, these things will help me to kind of allocate, uh, operate around the capital. That's the banking and finance. But looking at these systems, which are these in circles, is much more complicated. This brings up so much of challenges. For example, risk mitigation or risk management has got the bank has to manage the risk from a credit point of view, from an open system point of view, as well as uh, open risk, not open system, open risk point of view, as well as market risk. So what does it mean? It means that for somebody to let and take money, there is a risk management that happens, and there is something as a core banking, there is something on the online and internet mobile banking, there is a KYC, and then the fraud detection, there's a payment processing, there's a compliance and regulation, the data analysis, CRM, treasury management, data migration, they all are part of your banking system. That means, again, here also, each one of them are bringing you a complexity of data inflow that happens. We need to manage it in one plan. So that's what this domain talks about. If you go to the next one, pretty interesting here is as well, where you have a discipline called a production planning, inventory, procurement, human resource, finance, vendor management, and then floor management. So all of them, again, all of them will impose a problem that we are going to see like this. This is again pretty interesting here. The look at this production of physical goods using raw materials or components. That's all the manufacturing does, isn't it? It takes the raw material, process it, and then gives you the finished product. Now, while you're getting a finished product, you have these many challenges. So there is this MRP. This is not the same MRP that you see on the roads, right? So material requirement planning, PLC, which is product lifecycle management, CAD CAM, quality management system, IoT devices communication, order management system, manufacturing and analysis and vendor portals, warehouse management system, and manufacturing and execution system. So they all are again, they are all intertwined together to give you a tremendous kind of a integration. So I will just stop here. I mean, take a pause here to get your inputs. In other words, are you are you seeing the complexities that now with if you are able to imagine the complexities, it is not just like how we develop software in our colleges, which will be done by somebody else. We will present it, and it's not one software, right? There will be multiple softwares. So these softwares, the amount of data, the amount of information, the amount of the complexity that it brings in is tremendous. My intention again was to make aware that the complexities that we understand when we are dealing with an enterprise. Now, if we go to the next one, where we are talking about the hospitality, this is again a very interesting topic actually. So we have here the hospitality, where hotel and lodging. Hospitalities, you know that, right? Travel and other lodging actually. Hotel lodging. I'll come to this back office a little later. Food and beverage, travel, recreation and entertainment, event plan, and marketing. So all of them with this back goes as well. What does it mean? So there is a PMS, this is property management system, and IMS. What is IMS? Yeah, yeah, inventory management system, and then uh, employee schedule, communication, accounts and finance, and HRMS. So typically, these things are very important for a back house. What does it mean? See, traditionally, if you go to any of the hotels, for us to get a masala dosa or whatever, the amount of networking that they do to get a small, I would say, organization to get so many people is tremendous. They all do it by word of mouth, or probably they'll have a communication which is very unstructured way, right? So there's a cook, there's a supplier, there's a cleaner, there's many things that happen. The aesthetic look provider, all those people um, comes under specific back house management, where even just like how a structured enterprise manages the people, the unstructured sectors also will make the management, or they do involve the management. So all I'm trying to say is there are, especially in this industry, there are softwares that manages certain activities, but there are certain human that manage the, I mean, they manage the activities. Now, there was a solution for people who deal with the softwares, but there was a little less, I would say, facility for people who manage directly from a person to person. In other words, zero software based, no software based solutions were little difficult to manage. Even that has been addressed. See how it is. So, yeah, if you look at the again complexity here, the next one, please. Yeah, look at this. So, providing a business to beverage and then accommodation. There is the resource management, property management, POS, property maintenance, CRM, guest feedback, reputation management, energy management. This new actually this sorry, this energy management. I did not know till 2000. Energy management is something like it will tell you how many calories you need to eat. I mean, are you doing it keto diet or whatever diet, right? So that management is also a challenge in a hospitality industry, where they will suggest you. I remember I told you when you get into a hotel, they will tell you today what is the calorie that you need to eat. So I found it funny, but from a systems perspective, even to tell you that you need to eat 10 calorie of a yeah, I mean, you need to burn 10 calories. Whereas, tomorrow, if you go to another shop, in other words, the other hotel, the same software can tell you today you need to consume 10 calories. So that information management is also a part of hospitality industry. It's not easy. It's not easy. Why would I give my food preference to somebody else, to some systems, whom I don't rely at all? There are there are softwares. I mean, there are systems that take care of that with a known agreement. With the, kind of V and then. So online book reservation, I mean online booking and reservations. So every time you book in a train, you always waiting list. That's sophisticated. I mean, it's really interesting in the background how these things actually. So this is another complexity. The next one, please. Next one, please. Yeah. Um, this is my a pretty favorite one as well, where I talk about the healthcare. There is a medical research that happens, and there's medical services, healthcare products, preventive care, clinical support, administrative support, and then health technology. I would like to talk about quickly. Yeah, I'd like to talk about this under clinical support. We have we have we have created an automation solution where clinical support system has been put in such maybe I might probably talk about it at some later. But we have provided a very good clinical support system to using this technology. You know that. So where a lot of things have been automated. In one of my previous um, seminars, I talked about how we did it. Actually, I would recommend you to go and take a look at that as well. So I, I told you is um, there are complexities. Some of the, I mean, rather, some of the complexities can be very well quickly addressed by the automation tools. Actually, you need to take a look at that. So again, from a complexity perspective, electronic health record, which I talked about, in exchange happens between two different hospitals. I talked about the PACS, which is picture, level, and communication system. This is very important. All scanning happens needs to be put in such a way, then it has to be maintained. It's not that somebody takes and then they just data gets to a right system. It is shared among different people. It goes for a research. Then research industries or the research firms have to adhere to certain rules and regulations. All those things are a part of your challenges in the enterprise integration. Health information and then clinical decision support system. This is when I talked about today. If you buy when the sugar machines, those things which were pin us and then check. So it will suggest you what is good, what is bad. Those are typical, I would say, decisions. Invariantly, people are using it. Do I need to take a X-ray today? Can I wait for 5 more days? Or do I get it operated today? Or can I wait for next month? All those decisions, or especially from a, the disease like a cancer and all, people are getting treated in such a way. How is it possible? It's all possible because of integration. And then that also brings a lot of complexity, is what I wanted to talk about. Now, we have covered, I think, it's enough because there are so many industries which I don't want to get into. But with these complexities, let's see how quickly we can address. In other words, what happens. Now, this is very important for us because we do on a regular basis another form of a complexity that that IT department really faces, right? So it's like again, it's like I sent an email, but it has not reached to the customer, and it is stuck in one of my mail service. And then if I tell my manager, he'll say, "Did you talk to the IT department? Did you raise a ticket?" I'll raise a ticket, but still it is not. So all those complications are for guys faced by the IT space. IT. What are they? Technology. This is very important. I'll come to this in a little while. Let's understand this uh, last layer. Okay, start with IT service is self-explanatory. Skill gap and talent again. In any industry that goes skill gap it's inevitable because technology changes so fast, and then so does the organization adopt to that. So the legacy systems, which is again a big problem, user training and adoption. So what happens is in an organization, if I've embraced to have certain technology and um, I'm going live that specific technology, so you need to train people on certain aspects. It is not only from development team or IT team training, but it's also to user training. So challenges, and without a right system, it's impossible. Now, the business alignment, it's quite um, straightforward. Resource limitation, again, is quite straightforward. IT infrastructure is straightforward. I'm not going to, but this technology um, obsolescence is something which we want to talk about. That is, technology obsolescence is something like um, you see in context time. It's from because it's a stand experience. Lot of technology players or a lot of organizations are embracing the business over WhatsApp. You have noticed that even for that to happen, it's a digital advancement. So I need to have a system where I need to get that information. In other words, when I get information, I feed it to my system back. That's where my systems are not ready to embrace with a technology. We lag, or the business lags. So change in technology or the technology obsolescence is one of the important factors that gets uh, us back. So let's understand quickly. This I'm not going to take much time. Just because the slides will be forwarded to you. Enterprise service bus is
Don't
this
on.
solution for all
I'll
this.
tell you when
Let's
to on.
understand characteristics.
Hmm.
So characteristics will be something like if I want to call an ESP, what is an ESP? The ESP is nothing but it is an architecture that enables communication between application systems and services. It's very ESP is nothing but integration is what it defines. It has to have certain capabilities. Um, it has to communicate between application systems and services in an enterprise.
Hi.
And as typical characteristics, there should be a mediation, connectivity, transformation, routing,
Am I coming?
service orchestration, message queuing, service visualization, security and governance, scalability, reliability, monitoring, and management. The reason why I put this slide is we need. I'm convinced that we have all of them in MuleSoft.
I'll tell you.
That's where it takes as technology, where it takes to a enterprise and then if you go to the next slide where we see that whatever we characteristics of an ESP, and this is the reality. See, this is exactly we have a service orchestration, there is a service mediation, and there is a message routing, there is a high availability, data transformation, event handling, service creation, data weave, enterprise security, hybrid deployment, and then content collaboration. So this service orchestration to these many industries, if you see this, right? So it's important for us to understand that a full-fledged ESP support is available. Technology where we have seen in whatever domain we have seen, I mean, the right implementation happen, and that's only because a uniform platform like this. So it is so robust in place. If you go to the next one, please. I'm sure you know this. These are the capabilities of MuleSoft, where MuleSoft has an API management, a deployment monitoring, integration, and then this is for the IT people. I mean, there's two caterings. One is for the IT, and the other one is a non. I'm sure you are aware of these things. For a non, there's a component RPA, which are out there. This is for a non-developers. Even a non-developer can do it. But for developers, this is like API management, deployment monitoring, and then there's gateway, API governance, CLI, API manager. I'm sure you will have to do this. I will leave it to you. Just you need to go through this. And the reason I bought these books here is to tell you a very specific story next. That's why I bought you, and you have only one slide to go, and then leave the stage for others. So, use of capabilities are filtered in this way. I really appreciate if you have, all those things, whatever you're seeing, the challenges in the will be addressed by this. I'm convinced, and I've seen that all challenges that we have faced earlier are addressed through this, either one of them or with all of them. So it's important for us to understand again. You need to have a larger picture in order for us to use what technology and how. So, if I think we will reserve this some other day. It's very detailed in nature. I'll come back to the point that I picked up earlier. That is, to use these technologies when you're thinking like an architect, I'm sure you need these tools and the problems. So how Rome is not built in one day. So similarly, any systems cannot be built in 15 minutes. Cannot be possible. Okay? So the, the reason is you need to understand the problem. Once you understand the problem, you need to have a right solution. Even to consider what is right solution, you need to understand what is wrong or what is you should not do. All of them boils down to you to think like a specific architect, and that's where this is EAI. Remember the definition. I wanted to go back to the definition where so that the enterprise application integration where it connects a lot of components, solutions, and then different systems in an organization. How does it do? Just only looking at uh, the, the context that we went through, and then using some of the technology. Unification is very important. Once you unify this and a platform, remember the case I talked about, the right way to go about platform, unified platform is very, very important. Does all the softwares in the world provides the unified platform? The answer is no. I mean, I've seen, I've worked with many other technologies, but I have not seen a unification that happens. One of the best thing that software is collaboration that happens between the developers and the end users. Trust me, you will be using it. But as an architect, you will appreciate the exchange. The moment I put certain on an exchange and it is collaborated with different people, the mocking happens. So beautiful it is actually, and you invariably you have avoided so many things. But it has to be practiced. You know, sometimes what happens is exchanges are used only to showcase. Screenshot leke audit में डाल दो. How it should be used. Anyways, yeah, in the next slide, I want to talk about what we saw is a culture. I always believe I really wanted to, I don't say want to promote, and I strongly believe that integration is culture. So how is it a culture? We are all meeting, understand what is protocol. We are all meeting, we understand what is deployment, what is we understand what is the challenges in monitoring. We understand cloud. So how does it happen? So there is a beliefs and values in this. See, to call anything as a culture, we need to have there is a specific belief and values, norms, symbols, rituals, language and communication, aptitude. I mean, attitude and perception, cultural diversity, art, music and literature, and social organization. If we combine these things, we call something as a culture, right? There's so much of diversity in this universe. Every different culture has these characters. Now, I wanted to correlate that to your tool as well as like our entire integration is a culture. How is it possible? It's possible because there is a specific beliefs and values and norms and then norms and customs in the form of a best practices, in the form of a specific um, API rules and specifications. And then the symbols and rituals, you have a lot of components in a very characterized way. It has got its own capability. All the components, all the pellets that you see in your point studio, it has got its own meaning. And then a specific language. Can you? I have not seen any transformation a developer loves than a data view. Such a beautiful thing has been in data view. If you use to the fullest extent, no graphical UI can present that kind of capability. At least I have not come. It's such a beautiful script, right? So there is a specific communication. There is a specific language viewed only for this. And then I'll come to the aptitude and perception. Again, this is if you are a part of your C4E, which is Center for Enablement. You see how certain things goes in, which is directly back to this attitude and then the perception of specific the way you look at the problem, the way you solve it, step by step, and then it falls in a rhythm actually. Okay? And then when I talk about the rhythm, I'm trying to relate this to art and music and literature. There is a way to look at the API exchange, the way to look at the mocking that we do, the way we communicate with our stakeholders when we are integrating. They are all, to me, it's integration. The way of things on the exchange, not on the. I'm talking about you can create a best possible sequence diagram and put it on your exchange to explain people, right? So, and then it's again social organization. Social organization is I'm correlate this with our specific assets that you guys create. So there's so many assets that you create and you share publicly and privately for various reasons. And then people agree with it actually. And then why do social organizations occur? Because they exist. There is an improvement that happens through these forums. Similarly, is the case in our MuleSoft as well, where we constantly improve through these meetups and then the other asset build and sharing those assets, making customer happy. Ultimately, if you look at that, all we're doing is making the customer happy. So I would always consider that as a customer side, as a as a enterprise fraternity point of view. So that's something which I thought we are all like this. We're all pulling together. What do you think? I believe so. I mean, I'm sure we are pulling this from past 20 years. So I know that this integration space is such a beautiful, and then the journey with MuleSoft is even better. It has made so good. So that's what I thought. I think we're already reached the last slide, I guess. So um, thank you is what I want to tell you right now. The reason is I've taken so much of time. I'm sure it was more dry, just like a chemistry subject. But then I believe that it's important for us to understand. We are recording, I guess. I want you to that, and then I believe it has made certain. Um, it has given you some insight, if not completely. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Prashant, for such an informative and thought-provoking session. Yes, we may exceed the time, but it's totally worthy. And people, in the interest of time, we kept to maintain the integrity in the session as well. We kept the Q&A at the last. But without Q&A, the session won't be complete. I totally agree with you, people. So we will allow one or two questions. If you have any, 1, 2 questions we'll allow in the online as well. People actually ask a lot of questions in online. We'll ask 1 or 2 questions. Maybe I'll give a chance here. Yes. Answer, can you give the mic? You can take it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I, so yeah, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Pretty interesting. See, what happens is the reason why you need an integration platform is because if you look at what we spoke about, it's more like any system has to have uh, a practice where um, there needs to be a kind of a cyclic process. When I say cyclic process, it is like this. I have a legacy. I have a pipe. Let's say I have one, and then I have somebody who is consuming it. Now, if I understand your question correctly, there's a Python, whether Python or a what JavaScript or a Spring Boot, why don't you directly uh, call the legacy system, and whoever is calling, the information is provided. So in this case, uh, what customer has been provided, this kind of scripting. Now, why do you need it? So what happens is the need of creating a Python has arisen due to one of the business ask. Somebody in the business might have asked us to create a specific API, or I have a data of a legacy system. Please use that, and then I need there is a specific UI, and on top, onto that UI, or as a customer, I need that information, maybe for a mobile or for a web. Let's understand. So far, am I correct with understand why you need this integration in this? Yeah. You can. That's right. Yeah, you can. You can. That's what I was trying to assert my understanding. That's all. So when in this situation, since the business has to create that, now somebody from the department has created, or who has a knowledge of this Python, he has created that Python script for me to read the data from my system or the legacy system. And someone would have created the UI for me. So the creation of this Python, because what we do is, it is almost like you understand point-to-point communication. So it's almost like this. To read a data from a legacy system in the Python, what I would have done is, I would have created a specific query, and then that query is only talking, only for this kind of a UI or a presentable form. I am reading the data, and this script is only tracking and then getting the data, extracting the data from this. Now, this is one case. Like that, what happens is, and for this, I'm sure you would have used a specific server, maybe dedicated for that, or possibly not at all. You have to host this somewhere, and when you're talking about hosting it, there's again SDLC involved in this specific thing. Now, imagine this might be one case, but like that, since these kind of a chances in an organization is very, very high. So the and since the business is so dynamic in nature, that you have to create these kind of scripts and other things, especially these routines. Today it is one, tomorrow it will be 20. After a year it will be 200. This has been happening every now and then. Now, instead of that, if you bring a layer and bring a practice that um, some of the code that has been written in this can be used again and again, without, or in other words, with a little kind of a modification. Then it is easy for two things. One is, um, when I'm creating these 200 applications, in the previous case, what I would have done is, I would have gone through so much deployment cycles. Now, once for all, we create a unified kind of a model where you are using already created. In other words, you put certain queries in place, but then on top of it, you're creating and then making use of those routines. It is easy for anybody to manage over a period of time. For us, it's easy. We go ahead and then create a script, and then we run, boom, the data is available. But for an IT to manage, today, Prashant is here in this organization. So Prashant, there's a gap over there. That gap, how do you fill up those things? So, in other words, you are making ready the system that it's kind of a resource agnostic, and that's like, again, in a larger context and larger organizations, you always an entity used over and over. So that's one of the factors. Having said, there is no one answer to integrate things. Some organizations are super successful, but some organizations are not. And that, mm, organizations who are not have, um, ideally have moved out to um, a model where there is a specific set platform is there, and then they make use of that as a reusable assets. That's one of the um, objectives.
Thank you. We'll encourage one question. Like, YouTube, we are getting a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Hello, one question. A question from YouTube. MuleSoft providing multiple deployment options? If yes, is MuleSoft providing multiple deployment options? If yes, how to choose which one is right for particular use case?
The answer is music is providing the multiple deployment options. Yes, they have the model in terms you can deploy it on cloud or on premises, as well as a hybrid model, both of them. I mean, all the things. That's number one. Number two is choosing of the entire deployment depends on the organization policies. Some of the organizations doesn't want to go to the cloud-based deployments at all, and some of the organization want to have only cloud-based ones. Now, since it's a very relative question to the or relative, I would say, dependency on the organization uh, policies, it is up to them. But the second part of it is how do you deploy? How do I containerize certain things? How do I not containerize certain things? That again depends on the design that we spoke about. Meaning, how after 2 years, what would be my the traffic of my entire business or the request that a specific server is handling? What would be my request handling capability after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or whatever? So that exercise is more from a projection of the business actually. So based on certain projections, you will align your deployment models as well. Sometimes it is constant where you don't need certain things, it just keeps on, no extra things are needed, you only have 2 servers. But for onboarding or growing organization with multiple customers, you need to quickly spin up servers. So that defines your scalability options. It's a big topic, but in short, the answer is it depends on certain projections and then the organization policies.
Got it. Hope Jignesh did answer your question. Thank you so much, Prashant.
Yeah.
Now we'll stop the Q&A session for a while in the interest of time.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for that fantastic session.
Thank you so
Please give him a big round of applause. People, thank you so much. We completed the keynote session on integration. In the next half, we'll take a quick lunch break. Lunch is serving over there. After that, the second half is totally for, what do you think? It's for entrepreneurship. And also, we plan multiple goodies for you. There is a quiz. And then we don't want to, you people came to our Cloud Odyssey premises. We don't want to send you people with empty hands for sure. There are some set of things we planned. We will do one after the other. So I quickly request you all to go for the lunch break and complete it by 10 minutes. No, is it so hard? Thank you so much. Thank you all.